Casual Magic has been brought to you by CoolStuffInc, where you can get cool stuff. Use the code CASUAL to get 5% off of your sale. And then also by Coalesce Apparel, where you can get really cool t-shirts and stuff, and use the code CASUALMAGIC to get 10% off your sale. And by Archidekt, a deck hosting website that doesn't really sell anything, but they like me and I like them, so kindly use them. And now, on to the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to Casual Magic. I am your host, the Professor, and with me today, I am so excited to have our guest. It is the host of Casual Magic, Shivam. Welcome so much. Thank you for having yourself here at your own house and recording studio.
Wait, what happened? What are we doing?
We're doing episode 100.
Holy crap.
How did you get here? You're at 100 episodes and you just told me 2 years?
Yeah, it's wild. This is our first live episode of the show, and it's because you invited me up to do cosplay for God knows what reason, and dressed me up like Felden alongside Olivia and Tappy, and over breakfast decided, hey, you know what would be cool? If I started a show where I got to talk to people.
Was that really, but you had been thinking about the podcast for a while, right? Because you had already, I remember you had a long chain with me and Olivia and Tappy with show name ideas. That was before you came up, right?
No, I think that was like a conversation that built off of what we'd been doing. Because I've been on Commanderin for years and years and years.
Right.
And you guys were like, you know what? It would be really cool if you were able to talk about things that weren't just Commander all the time.
Sure.
And I was like, that would be a lot of fun. And it turns out it was. And now I'm 100 episodes in, which is insane.
Congratulations. I think that it's a real testament to what you are able to bring to the community with that wider net of casual appeal and interest. I think it's great to have shows that aren't as focused. Not that there's anything wrong, of course, with those shows,
sure.
But it's great to have a more general show like this. And you've had such a wide range of guests. It's actually blown my mind. People I feel like I can't get are breaking down the door to come on your show.
It's just, I think, like you were telling me, that magic is, there's something about just loving magic.
Yeah.
And it's just about enjoying the card game and being like, and it's not that anybody loves just Commander or just Vintage or just Draft. We love the whole spectrum, right?
Well, we also have an interest in the other parts, too. I mean, we were just chatting before the episode, and I mentioned stuff about Vintage and Legacy gameplay, which neither of us really play Vintage or Legacy, but we both got a little sparkle in our eye because we've watched it, we've read about it, we hear about it. It's magic. It's cool. I want to hear about these other areas of the game. It might not be what I make a deck in, but it's still cool.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly believe that Magic players who love Magic.
Yeah.
Up and down. Like, you can be a dedicated limited player and still be like watching people throw down Black Lotuses and be like, that is rad. You know, like, I think that any Magic player is eventually going to want to play any kind of Magic, and you're always going to find something cool there. I mean, it might not be your favorite way to play. Like, I was talking to Reed Duke, and I'm like, look, dude, I don't play Legacy or Vintage very often, but I love watching Legacy and Vintage. I love watching Modern play Pauper. I mean, you play Pauper all the time. I liked Pauper a lot until I got freaking mnemonic walled to death.
So you liked it for about one round, basically, because that was round 2 that you got mnemonic walled to death.
My elf deck is so good, and then that stupid.
I love that Pauper has caused a destroy target wall card from like Legends that was previously 40 cents, and it's spiked because it's on it or it's not on the reserve list, but it's just there's no copies.
There's no reason to ever print
destroy wall.
Target wall.
And Pauper caused it to spike. But yeah, no, Magic's great name drop on Reed Duke there, by the way. You know, I was just talking to Gavin in my DMs. I was just talking to Gavin.
I mean, can I name drop any higher than having the Professor in my room recording with me?
Yeah, I think you just did with Reed Duke.
Oh man, it's good to see you. Actually,
it's great to see you. We were actually just talking before the podcast, and I realized we could spend the next 4 hours just in your kitchen drinking tea, catching up, but we'd never have time to record it.
Right. It occurred to me that this is not going to be a very good episode if I don't hit record.
Yes. No, it's really great to see you again. I'm glad that we've reached a point where we can do an in-person thing like this safely.
Right.
And it's funny because you're still living where you were living 8 years ago, but 8 years ago when I was living 15 minutes from here, I never made it out to see you enough. It
Isn't
was
that
just
insane?
see you at pre-release, I'd see you at the game store, and then I came over once or twice. I remember you showed me the D&D collection and the shed.
Yeah.
I saw the shed.
Which is now overflowing with magic cards.
That's what it was then. That's what it was 6 years ago when
I know,
you showed
right?
it to me.
But imagine now like twice that many cards.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh god.
But yeah, I really wish that I actually see you more now that I live farther away.
It is the weirdest thing in the world to think about that. Like, we lived so close to each other. We could have hung out every weekend. And we did, just somewhere else.
And our kids are the same age, so our kids could have had play dates. And we always said that. We always said, do a play date. And then we never did it.
It's just insane. I mean, but that's like life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about the fact that the most time we've spent together was in Vegas.
Right.
Right? Like, we were just in Vegas a few months ago in the one weekend between Delta and Omicron when we had the window of happiness. And tell me, wasn't that the most invigorating?
It was.
It was just like so revitalizing.
I don't know if you've talked about this on the show, but I go up to Shivam. We see each other on the floor. And you come over, you give me a big ol' hug, and I'm like, oh wait, are we doing this here? Like hugging? Like, are we supposed to like be more distance here? What are we doing? Okay, we hug, and then he says to me, how are you? And I'm like, what's wrong? My voice. You had laryngitis from just screaming and hugging and talking. Well, not from hugging, but from talking to everyone.
Day and a half in Vegas. I was just like. Horse
and everything, and yeah, you were definitely teary-eyed. I saw
God.
it, and I absolutely I don't blame you. It was a great experience to get to see everybody again. Do you think we're going to be doing more of those in the year to come?
I think so, because I mean, well, depending on how things go, but given how Channel Fireball set that event up, it felt safe.
It was a success, and it was the only I don't know about you, but from everything I've heard, there's been no one saying I tested positive after Vegas. There was one person.
Yeah, there was one person.
One person who acknowledged
and they'd
that
had
they
it before.
Got it before.
Yeah.
That they got it before. They're like, look, we got it before. I got it before and found out about it at Vegas or something like that.
Yeah.
But there was nobody who's like, well, I spent all day in the command zone at Vegas and now I've got COVID and that did not. That would have been top of Reddit. That would have been top of Reddit. It didn't come out. I think the event was a success. Everybody followed. There was no lunatic screaming, "I refuse to wear a mask," and burning their vaccination card or whatever.
I saw a few people who were wearing things like, this mask is as ineffective as Joe Biden, or whatever, like hate, like random.
Whatever makes you happy, just wear the mask.
I don't care what's on the mask. I care that you're wearing the mask, and they did. They wore the mask anyways. They followed the directions. I'm like, put whatever you want on that thing, as long as it's on your face. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
And everybody followed instructions, everybody followed directions, and it was great. And we were safe, and we came home, nobody was sick.
Yeah.
And like me and my French crew, is all people Kessler and Tappy and
we all went out to that was our dinner party.
Our dinner party. Like afterwards, we were all talking to each other and keeping track. Like, hey, did you test? Did you test? We all tested.
We all did it.
Everybody's COVID free.
So where's the next one? If it's not going to be Vegas, and let's say they're doing one probably in the winter to spring kind of period, where do you think Channel Fireball is likely to pick next? Because we're not tied to, there's no GPs, we're not, there's no circuit. It's just Channel Fireball doing this, but they can do this anywhere in the country, in the world. Where's the ideal number 2 location for the next Magic the Gathering event that is definitely really just GP?
Yeah, like the Magic Fest in quotes, right? I think if I was going to do a second one, I would put it in Europe somewhere.
Right.
I would either probably do it in like London or France.
Well, that's I agree. I would do GP. I would do GP London, but do you think they're going to do that? What do you think they're going to do? I think they're going to find the cheapest place that isn't Vegas.
Yeah, I think they're going to be like Tucson,
right?
Or like Oklahoma City,
or what is maybe Minneapolis or Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, Minneapolis would be a great
one
place
of those,
to do it.
What's the
Midwestern city?
Yeah, in Indianapolis. That's the one where it happens a lot. Seattle would make a lot of sense. Magic coming home.
Sure, but Seattle's. I mean, I could see them doing Seattle, but Seattle's very expensive,
and they're not getting help from WotC at this point anymore because they're totally independent.
I think doing it in Vegas was smart for them because they moved to Vegas.
Yeah,
but if I was going to do another one for CFB, I would probably pick I think Minneapolis is smart. Minneapolis or Indy or Chicago or somewhere in the center of the country where people can get to.
Yeah. London would be wild, though.
London would be wild. Tokyo would be wild. But Tokyo doesn't allow foreigners in
No.
anymore.
Yeah.
Sydney. Well, maybe not
Right.
Sydney. Sydney's got a very small Magic population. I mean, no, they've got a very dedicated population, but people can't get there because it's
Yeah,
a
I've
million
wanted
miles
to
away.
do an Australia trip for meeting up with Australian
Can you
fans
imagine how
for the
rad that
longest
would be?
time. I probably would have done it by now if it hadn't been for freaking pandemic. I got out to Brazil the year before pandemic. I was
That
at
is
GP Sao Paulo.
That's
Like,
so insane
yeah.
to me still.
That was a wonderful trip, and I did GP London. So yeah, Australia was on my list.
Dude, I would go in a heartbeat to GP anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, that would be wild.
And I did GP Victoria, which is what we call the pre-release.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So here we go. We're slowly rebuilding, and I don't know if things will ever be back to what they were, but they're turning into something that is at least manageable.
I think if we can learn to be more disciplined,
Right.
then we can do this.
Sure.
Like, playing Magic, because playing Magic in person is just so much better. Spell table is great, but playing Magic in person is so much better.
It is.
Being able to, like, the thing that I did the most fun at Vegas was I got to do a paper cube vintage draft.
Oh.
With like
wow.
all alpha lands,
Yeah.
every card was
Oh,
signed,
man.
like, you know, Lotus, the whole thing, and I'm like, this is something you don't get to do.
Right.
Like, we can't use Spell Table to emulate a cube draft.
Yeah.
We can't sit with people in person and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna monodrain your mocks with my mocks or whatever. It's like, what? This
Yeah.
is crazy. Also, don't ever monodrain a mocks. That's a bad idea.
No, that's not what you want to do. Also, don't ever get yourself caught on camera tapping a mox to sacrifice it for 3 mana like it were a Black Lotus. Because then that'll turn into a video that has more views than any video on your own channel, and people will bring it up for a million billion years. That's my advice. I just love that my most viewed video on YouTube is not on my channel, and it's of me making an epic misplay because I was standing in a crowd of 1,000 people standing around me with cameras and phones up, and I was nervous as hell. And all of a sudden I had alpha cards and beta cards in my hand, and like they did it to Seth, and his hands were shaking. He was like holding a grip of like $5,000,
You know,
and so I was like, I Mox Ruby. That's 3 red mana. Oh no, wait, and then it was just there you go. Now I never hear the end of it.
But you know what though? It's why, I mean, it's fair. Even hardened veterans like you and me will sit there, and if we've got a real Mox in our hand, we're still gonna be like, "Whoa, crap!"
It's the first time I ever played with one, like actually played with a real one, not a proxy. I'd held a real one, but I'd never actually played with one.
I
That
mean,
was a wild experience.
Dude, let me tell you, shuffling a deck that's worth more than your car is a real trip.
Yeah. As a veteran player, I want to ask you this. So we all know you are a fellow elderly like myself. You remember the old days.
Let me get my cane out.
I was just in our local games store, and Mike pulled out some of the D&D modules he had you sign, where we were talking. It's like, I remember I got him to sign the old D&D modules he wrote and stuff like that. So you go way back, because people are already lost by like, wait, what did he sign? What is that?
D&D?
Well, not D&D, that's big now, but like I don't think they still do the mod, like things like that.
Modules and stuff. Those are
that's ancient.
Third edition, man. It's like
went out
15
with
years ago. Yeah, seriously.
I liked THATCO. That's another podcast.
Nobody likes that.
I liked THATCO. I liked 2nd edition, best edition.
You do that.
I do.
Okay,
yes.
Grandpa.
Yes. Well, Grandpa, I want to ask you this. As someone who has seen the ages turn in Magic the Gathering, when you look at Magic the Gathering today, and I don't mean the community, but I mean the game, what is the most recognizable, that's Magic the Gathering thing you see, and what is the least? What leaves you saying, I just don't recognize that as Magic anymore, but it is Magic now, but you're just out of step and out of time, you know? What do you think is the most that is always just Magic? But you can't just say, the community. That's the easy answer. No. That's the easy answer.
The most Magic is Jumpstart.
Yeah.
Jumpstart to me feels the most Magic because it's 2 decks of random whatever they are shuffled together. It's pile cards, all the cards I own in a pile. I'm playing a deck. Here's like 2 colors worth of cards that are just random things. It feels the most like what 12-year-old me would have thought of Magic.
It goes back to what they had a very hard time replicating, which is back in high school when you might just grab a starter deck and a couple packs and shuffle them up and play. And it was very hard to get back to that.
Yeah.
And Jumpstart lets you feel like I'm going to grab 2 packs, shuffle up and play. And the experience, but I also like, because one of my big problems with a lot of the like introductory product is that I always felt they dumbed it down and they didn't have anything spicy. They didn't have anything big. You were playing with like a shock that costs 3.
Windbreak.
Right. And there's some powerful cards in those Jumpstart packs. There's classic cards, there's new cards, and that's why to me Jumpstart really became so addictive for everyone, is that new players and old players and everyone in between are just, again, cracking open packs, getting games, and there's some wild Magic cards in
and
there.
that's exactly it. It feels, because like when you think about those days when we used to play, when you open a pack, you would have your one rare, your uber card, your handful of commons and whatever crap. And that's what Jumpstart feels like. It's like, look, I pulled a Shivan Dragon. Yeah, the rest of my cards are Goblins of the Flarg or whatever, but they're still, I've got the chance of pulling the Shivan out and winning the game.
I remember pulling that Nightmare in my first, that was my first rare from my first pack was a Nightmare.
I think my first rare was like Thoughtless.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That's actually a good EDH card now. Thoughtless, yeah, right?
Really? Thoughtless turns a card blue or something?
Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different one then.
Yeah, Thoughtless is not a... Nobody has ever wanted to play Thoughtless.
I think I might have been thinking of Death Grip.
Death Grip is rad. That's the one that counters a green spell.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Death Grip.
That's a good card.
They have, that's, I got the
Death Grip and Life Force.
My elderly brain that taps a Lotus for, a Mox for a Lotus.
But Jumpstart I think is the most Magic.
Yeah.
But now the least Magic.
This is also this. I don't mean what do you hate. I just mean what do you look at it and you just feel like, oh, these kids. What is this? This isn't. This is you feel this gap between you and it.
Like I look at that and I think of like. That's a good question. What is the least Magic? Boy. I think companions. And like. Yeah. Companions in like modern and stuff like that, or I mean it's weird to say companions. I play Commander, obviously I love companions, but there's something about a 60 card pile and having a thing on the side that just kind of comes in. I mean, okay, Ring of Maroof when we were kids or something. But also some of the card designs from like the Strixhaven mystical teachings feel a little bizarre. I mean they're all cool. Yeah. But it's like, okay, I don't understand. But it feels like a lot of Magic you can trace the thing, but I think maybe lesson learned. Yeah. I think maybe lesson learned is where I'm like, this is cool, but this doesn't feel like Magic. This feels too easy to tutor. Right. Easy to get stuff out. Right. Like, cause Magic to me is like supposed to be like, you got your 60 cards and that is your pile. You don't get to dig in your sideboard. Yeah. I mean, but again, that's a lie though, because like we used to be able to do that with cards that would let you go outside the game or whatever. Maybe Alchemy? No, because even Alchemy though.
Alchemy isn't even in paper.
Yeah, Alchemy's weird.
Is Alchemy Magic the Gathering or is Alchemy Magic Arena?
No, Alchemy is Chandelar too.
Oh, no one knows what that is.
See, Chandelar was my favorite way of playing digital Magic, and it had a random RNG cards in it all day.
It did.
And Alchemy, some of these Alchemy cards are really cool, and some of them are just. I do not like that Black Planeswalker that lets you choose 3 cards that make you all do stupid things. Yeah. The Brandon Sanderson Planeswalker.
Davriel.
Davriel. Oh, God, I hated that card. But again, you're not talking about do you hate... Cause,
no, I'm not talking about hate. I'm talking about... So I'll tell you mine. Well, mine is along the lines... I liked the Strixhaven Mystical Archives because I'm a big fan of... I felt they were getting back into some of that sorcery magic aesthetic. You're right. They were like pages from the spellbook in the library. I liked that.
That's why I pulled back on that, because you're right. That does feel cool.
It's just an opinion, but I do feel that the way in which now, when I sit down... and I have a handful of cards, and every card looks so dramatically different. I do feel a little like now we've got cards, and you peel stickers off of them. We've got cards that look like the art is, it looks like a poster. Some of
the secret layers definitely feel a little.
But it's not just secret layers, because a lot of them are appearing in booster packs too now. There have been so many weird and wild new designs, and individually it's like, well, what do you have a problem with a card that looks like a movie poster? It's like, no, I don't. But then what does make me feel disconnected is when I have a handful of cards and they all look it just looks like this potpourri. It's like someone threw up an art
Yeah.
design school into my hand, and it's all over the table. And I there's a video out there by Ristic Studies, who we actually had dinner with in Vegas, and is a dear friend, and we love him and we love his work, but I disagree with the thesis, and it's where he talks about card frames for about an hour, and you should watch it. It's a brilliant video, but he comes to this conclusion where he's saying people just kept saying it doesn't look like a Magic card, and he said no, it does look like a Magic card about changes, and he's like, that's what Magic does, it changes. And I disagree. I think it's okay to say it doesn't look like a Magic card,
Right.
and that's where I respectfully, to my dear friend, disagree with the thesis of that video. I think it does. The Amonkhet invocations did not look like a Magic card.
Yeah.
You might start to think individually they look cool after a while.
They do. The artwork was cool, but
the Kaladesh masterpieces look like a Magic card.
Yeah.
The Amonkhet invocations do not, and I will fight you on that.
I think
respectfully,
what it was, especially the Amonkhet ones, because they took the color out of the mana symbols and
right.
stuff, it just stripped away like a lot of the vibe of it.
Right.
That's why, like, when I look at these black and white cards from Crimson Vow or whatever,
yeah,
that's where I'm like, this doesn't look like a Magic card to me anymore.
That I really do not. The idea that we're gonna sit down and play
How the
with
hell
a board state
when they took the color off of the lands,
yeah,
that's when I was like, I can't do this
Which
anymore.
land is that? I can't tell.
Like, there's no way to tell.
My favorite moment was we were at a GP and Marshall cracked invocation. It was Force of Will invocation. He goes, look what I cracked. And everyone leans in and goes, oh, cool. I go, that's great. Which card is that? And it was big laughter. But yeah, that's how I feel with those black and whites.
Yeah.
Is there was this idea that we're going to have both sets entirely in black and white. And as some people have pointed out, it's grayscale, not black and white.
Yeah.
Because the pieces weren't done. If they had maybe been done by the artist
like if
that.
they had done specifically black and white, like the basic lands that were black and white were drawn in black and white to begin with.
Right.
So they look cool and evocative in black and white.
Yeah.
You still need to have color to be able to tell, though.
And there's some people pointing out issues where, like, for example, I think it's yellow and cyan, when they get hit with the grayscale, they blend together. And on some of the artworks,
it just looks like somebody put a Photoshop filter over it.
Yeah, it does. And I know that they adjusted it. And I believe them. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist. But nonetheless, they should have been commissioned. Or maybe color is important. Maybe color is important in
a game about color.
About color, yes.
You know, it's funny, though, because you mentioned, like, having a hand of wonkiness. I was talking to Gavin Verhey before Time Spiral Remastered came out. And I'd ask him, I'm like, why didn't you... I'm surprised you guys didn't keep the frames, right?
Yeah.
Like Time Spiral had a frame, and then Dark, or whatever, Planar Chaos had its alternate frame, and
right.
There's a Future Sight frame. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool? And he was like, yeah, but we didn't want you to open a pack and have just, like, a mishmash garbledy bag. And then, like, mystery boosters come out, and then like Strixhaven stuff, and I'm like, Gavin, are you trying to pull a fast one on me here?
Well, and also, if that premise is that you have this mishmash and it's not a good thing, then we have a mishmash in our decks now. Yeah. Like, we have a mishmash when we go in to play Magic, and other people have that mishmash because it has just become so wild, and anything's a Magic card now.
Right.
And that's the one thing where it's not a problem. It's just me being an old man yells at cloud. I admit that.
See, the thing is, though, like, as a Commander player, I'm so used to sitting down and having Alpha card, Unlimited card, Modern card, whatever, all the blinged out and proxied out and twinked out cards. Like, that just feels kind of like, that seems okay. But it's also, though, when you look at a board state, you have no idea what's going on anymore, because it's just randomized color, especially, like, and these are all official cards now.
Yeah.
And that's where you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on anymore.
Yeah.
There's a golf course. What is this plains?
You got to peel it off.
I think that thing's actually... Honestly, though, I think that one's kind of rad.
See, this is the problem, is that Magic players individually, they look at that and they go, that's rad. And
I don't want a whole thing of that, but I like the conceptual weirdness of that.
And there is the rumor, as of the recording of this video, the rumor that Unfinity will have peel-off cards where you peel it off.
I heard that they're going to put, like, gum in the packs or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Unfinity's got some just utter nonsense going on.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, if we're going to have acorns to represent Silver Border, they're going to go crazy.
How do you feel about Black Border unsets now, and the end, in many ways, of the Silver Border? Because at this point, we no longer are going to be making Silver Border cards. The holiday gift cards, they should just be Black Border and have
that's what he
acorn.
said, isn't it?
Yeah. So how do you feel about the end of the Silver Border?
That makes me really sad.
Yeah.
because I love silver border cards.
Right.
I think, especially the last Unstable, was
Yeah.
one of the best draft sets of all time.
Right.
It was hella fun. Contraptions are fun. The mutate thing, no, whatever. Host augment was fun.
Yep.
Dice rolling was fun. Every part of that set was fantastic, top to bottom.
Yep.
And making them silver border makes them unique and cool. I mean, I've been pushing forever for Commander to have silver border legalized as just a thing we can do.
Oh, it is. It's called Rule 0. Oh, okay. I get it. You haven't heard of this. So, Rule 0.
Oh,
yes.
Dude, no, you know what? That's the thing. Like, I don't want all cards to be legal because I think most of the cards that came out of Unglued and Unto are not good cards.
Unto.
They're terrible. Unto.
No, I get the names mixed up like crazy.
Yeah, on whatever it is.
Yeah.
Unegged? I don't know. God, I hate this. It's so many unsets.
But Un3 was great.
Un3, though, I think like 80% of the cards are totally fine for Commander.
Yeah.
And I think there's no reason why contraptions can't be in Commander. There's no reason why Host and Augment and Dr. Jumble Morph, whatever it is, can't be your Commander.
Well, now they are, in a way. Do you think... Because I know. I would
really like it.
No, don't say it. They're going to go back. They're going to go back and they're going to say these are effectively now black border, whatever.
I would be surprised if they didn't at least try.
I don't like them doing that. I don't like them going back and being like, all these cards are now Phyrexian. And it's like, well, I can't read the card to explain the card anymore. I don't like those. Like I wish that they would leave it writ in stone unless it's a major issue. And I just feel that having to go online to look up what my paper card does isn't a feeling I like. And that's all that is. I'm not saying the changes aren't good. I just am like, no, wait a minute. What is this? I don't want to be like, hold up a card and say, what does this do? I don't have an internet connection.
I think if they do that, they ought to reprint the cards
and
give them the new frame so that you can at least... Like, there's a card that I like a lot. It's in my zombie deck, and I don't remember the name of it right now, but it was originally printed as a creature assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And then they later on made it into a creature zombie assassin, and in one of the commander decks, they printed it creature zombie assassin. And I was like, Gavin, reprint this so that I can have it properly set up or whatever. And he's like, yeah, and this time when we reprint it, it can actually be creature Phyrexian zombie assassin. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I have no idea anymore. What the hell are these cards?
Right.
And
yeah, that's how I really...
That's why I think like silver border, it would be more like a blanket, like all of these are okay now.
Well, they are okay now because here's the other thing too. I don't understand how at this point there are rules. I don't understand how at this point it isn't just everything goes, because here's the thing. Now that we've literally made black border unsets and we have this acorn thing that I can't keep straight in, it's just like, wait,
I think once we see it, it'll make sense. But
I guess it's like,
but I don't remember which side is which.
Yeah, but does it matter? It's just like, does it even matter anymore? Just play with silver border cards. Just play with this. Just play with banned cards. Just play. It's like, I'm gonna put my Iona in my commander deck. So what? Like, it's just about how I play with it, right?
Honestly, I think it almost feels like Wizards is pushing us back to all the cards I own .deck.
If I have if after this 2 people were coming over and I said, oh, by the way, my friend, I do have an Iona in my commander deck. We can play though, right?
Hell no, we can't.
What do you mean we can't?
Rule 0 request. I would rather you chose not to play that card.
Okay, well, it's my only deck I have.
Well, here's 40 other decks you could choose from.
Okay, but you don't think that I'm gonna say that I say to you, Rule 0 talk. But I'm not going to use this to lock anyone out of the game. I'm not going to do anything with this that locks anyone completely out. It won't be used like that. It'll lock you out of. It'll only be used to lock you out of one color, in that way. In a multi thing. If there's somebody on monocolor, I won't lock them out. I don't play like that, and I say that before, and I just say, and you know me as a person, that I'm not going to do it. You still say no? You'll still say no?
I think this actually leads into the bigger point that a lot of people have a complaint about Rule 0 as written, or as promulgated in the community, which is that people are like, hey, if I want to play my Planeswalker deck, I shouldn't have to plead my case every time while you play your Tanglewire Lockout Armageddon deck just fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fair. In the same way, like, you're like, look, dude, I'm not going to use Iona to exploit anything. I'm just using it in my Tribal Angels deck because it's the top-end angel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well...
So, can I play with it with you?
I mean, I would probably, just knowing you, but the thing is, though, that...
It sounds like you're still very reticent to do so.
I hate that card more than any card.
Yeah, but I hate... Well, can I see your deck and then be like, oh, you're running this? I don't like that.
Yeah, and
Isn't that what Magic is? Is I'm gonna hate cards you play.
No, that's totally fair. I mean,
so
one of the there's this thing where you have like there's this issue in Commander where it's like the rules exist for untrusted players who sit down in a store or whatever together to have a baseline of agreement.
Right.
And if we're sitting there and we're playing and we're friends, that doesn't matter.
Right.
We're just playing because like I know you're gonna try to you're not gonna hose me and I'm not gonna hose you because we understand how we play.
Yeah.
It's like
the issue is if you're ever going to game with someone new or that you haven't played with before. But that's why everybody needs to be conditioned to understand that you can't behave that way in a game of Commander, I guess. I don't know. I feel like so we went from the rules committee's rules of what's banned and not banned to the idea of the Rule Zero talk, pregame discussions, and I think the next evolution is Will Wheaton's law for Commander, which is just everything's legal, 100%. Silver Border is legal, and every commander, even Leovold, is legal, and it's just don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick. And so Leovold, okay, I won't be a dick, so I'm not going to do Teferi's Puzzle Box. I'll just have him in an elf tribal. That's
isn't
elf
that
tribal.
the ideal, though?
Yeah. So
Isn't
there
that
we go. So Mr. Menery, tear down this banned list. And if you get that joke, you're over 40. If you get that joke, you're over 40 or a political science major.
Well, no, but you would have to be over you would have been like 10 when Reagan
I was watching the news when I was 10, weren't you? I was.
Yes, I was there. I remember.
We just found out today we drive the same car, the same color, the same year. So we were both watching the evening news.
Yes, I definitely saw Dan Rather.
Yes.
Anyway, so the point though is that
shouldn't we just get rid of the ban list then?
Well, I mean, the thing is though, that point is exactly it's because this is a good point you bring up.
Yeah.
And ultimately, because people are like cEDH, right? You guys should force cEDH to have their own separate ban list, or you should force EDH to have a ban list and cEDH to ban, or get rid of the ban list altogether.
Oh my god, I just thought of the solution to everything. Go on, but I'll tell you afterwards. But I thought of the solution to everything. Go on.
And I'm just like, dude, no. The idea is like, play with your friends, agree with what you guys are gonna do, and like, even Commander is like, look, the ban list is just a suggestion. This is just our idea of things that would make play better for you guys in an uncrusted situation.
So I have Iona in my deck. It's just a suggestion. I don't even know why we're even having this conversation. I've decided to ignore that suggestion because I'm not going to misuse it. Why do I need your permission to play with Iona in my deck?
Look, dude, I personally believe the ban list is half as big as it should be. So
yes, that's the wrong direction. I know how to fix Commander.
Hit me.
All right, we 100% get rid of the Commander ban list. 100%. We institute, and as guided only by members of that community, a cEDH ban list that the casual Commander players can choose to follow. So it's exactly what we have now for cEDH, where they're having to deal with the casual Commander ban list. So let's just flip it, and casual Commanders can say, oh, hey, do you guys want to do cEDH rules tonight? cEDH bans tonight, but we're playing with casual decks. And so then the thing is what does cEDH want banned or not? Because it's out of control for cEDH. And then everything is logical because we get to this point where we do the old thing where it's like, well, why is Tanglewire and Stacks not banned, but Leovold is, you know? And I think that's a very good argument in a lot of ways for stuff like that. And so it comes to, it's like this gut feeling in a lot of ways with the current ban list. So let's just make it cEDH's bans. And then they all have a logical reason because you do these plays with it, which are X, Y, and Z. And then, I'm sorry, there's no way they would ban Iona.
Damn.
Yeah, I win. Oh, do I get to go on the advisory group? I just get your spot on the advisory group. I just defeated you.
You can have it.
Yeah, right.
You can have it.
I got news for you. I don't want it.
Oh my goodness.
I would not that he'd offer it, but if Sheldon offered it, I honest to God wouldn't even think about it. I would say no without a moment's hesitation. Without a moment's hesitation. I don't know how you do that. I don't know why you do that. You're insane,
I love
friend.
it. Oh my God, I love
My
it though.
friend.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it makes me so happy to be able to help people have fun in Commander.
Yeah, of course.
Like, that's ultimately the end of the day. I mean, I think there's merit to what you're saying, and I'm going to have to actually chew on that, because there's valid here. One of the problems is cEDH wants to have a regularly shaken up meta. They've got like a hard
which is why we don't need to follow it.
Yeah, but that's also why the rules committee doesn't want to do it. because it's
That's
so
fine.
much
We're
work.
going to make a cEDH rules committee, and that we disband. I propose we disband the rules committee. We disband the CAG, and we reform a cEDH rules committee and a cEDH CAG, and then casual players can choose to follow those rulings.
Yeah, just have your 100 cards go to town.
Yeah.
Run your Leovold tribal elves deck.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to be a dick, because if I be a dick, then you won't play with me. So don't be a dick. And maybe this will begin to create a psychology within the commander players to be more generous, more relaxed, more elastic towards one another. And because it's just like, just grab 100 cards and play. Just grab 100 cards and play.
But the actual result is going to be people playing like Braids and Turbo Land Destruction all day long.
So you don't play with them.
I mean, Olivia says that Rule 0 is for Game 2.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the most profound things.
That's actually clever.
I think that's one of the most profound things I've heard somebody say about this idea, which is that, look, Game 1, we're going to play stock rules, ban lists and stuff, and we're going to just go at it. And then Game 2, if there is a Game 2, then we can sit there and talk about, okay, yeah, you can play your Iona. I understand how you play. Oh, yeah, okay, you know what? You can play Armageddon. I get what your deck is trying to do.
Right.
But you can have that discussion because you're going to have a Game 2. If you're not going to have that Game 2, who cares? Problem solved. Peace out. We use the rules as written. Move on.
Sure.
Because, like, there's people who you're like, I'm not having a Game 2 with you.
Right? Yeah. Well, there is usually through attitude, or like, I just don't really like playing against that deck sort of thing. I mean,
I hate that people have started using Rule 0 as a blunt weapon. To be like...
No, yeah.
And people are like saying like, oh, I don't want you to play that card. And you have to listen to me because of Rule 0. Or like, I'm not going to let you play with your pet Planeswalker deck because of, whatever.
Well, it starts to come down to that, where if I'm like, oh, I've got Iona and Tribal Angels, and you're just saying no, then I just am going to be like, well, I don't, like, personally, I don't want silver border cards on the table, or universes be, well, then we get into this that you can't bifurcate. Yeah, you have to deal with it. Just sit down and take your medicine. You might actually have a fun time. I don't like. You shouldn't even be asking me about what's in your deck. Just sit down and play.
Yeah, honestly, I think
Who cares?
I think we've gotten to the point where, and it's weird because I'm a full advocate of telling people
banning this format into working. It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. There's no way. But no, I think that the essays that people are giving us, like, I don't need a doctoral thesis about your deck before we play. I just need to know, like, yo, are we playing like lasagna tier, or are we playing like all balls to the wall tier?
Yeah.
And there's no clean way to answer that. I just need you to be like, do you think this is your most powerful deck? Do you think this is a mid-tier deck? Do you think? Don't give me a number. I don't want numbers.
Right.
Numbers are stupid. But I just want to know. I'm like, normally these days now what I do is I'm just like, look, here are my decks. These are what they do. Pick the one that you think is going to be the right level for the game you want to play.
Yeah.
And I let them, or I'm just like, why don't you give me a deck to play with? And that way I'll be like, okay, I'm playing your deck, so whatever happened, you have decided. And it just works better that way. But obviously, that's a thing you and I can do.
Right.
It's not a thing that I'm not going to go to the game store and say, like, give me your deck.
Right. No, and that's the problem. Is we don't have to play with others. So, and it comes down to that. You got to play with others.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough.
And Magic is changing in such a fundamental way with all these new additions, all these different ways of doing it. Like, I'll be honest, I love silver border cards, but I love silver border cards as an opt-in. As a thing that you and I sit there and say, like,
too bad.
Okay,
that's been removed.
But now the idea that like half of these cards are going to be just like playable is, I mean, some of the designs are rad, and I think it's going to be cool. Sure. But also, like,
that's what I mean. It just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, like, what's the point then?
When you always color outside the lines, there are no lines.
Right. Like, at some point, like, there are people who are like, why does Commander have 100 cards? Why do you need to have all these things?
No, I can't have 101 cards.
Why do we have a color identity?
And but here's the other thing. Would you have a problem? I sit down and say, I got my Battle of Wits Commander deck.
No, because I think that would be interesting to see.
Okay,
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
So why do I have to even? Why is this a thing?
I think you have to have a baseline in order to diverge from the baseline, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a point where it's like, if we take away too many of the pillar to hold up what makes Commander,
right?
Then why aren't we just playing all the cards I own .deck versus all the cards you own?
What if I have a Planeswalker as my commander?
I'd probably let you. I would sigh, but I'd probably let you.
What if I say I have 2 legendary creatures that do not have partner, but I'd like them to be my commander because I want just you have 2 legendaries. I have 2 legendaries from before they had the partner mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've allowed that. I think.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, because
What
somebody
about
came.
3?
No, I wouldn't, because that's
What
too
about
many.
when Wizards does you know that sometime in your lifetime they will release a tri-partner commander.
I know at some point in my lifetime there's gonna be 99 commanders and 1 card in your deck.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
But like, if you come to me with like Hans and Safi and say like I want to have a partner deck,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop you. That's awesome.
I would want to do both Sigs from
yeah,
Lorwyn
Sig and
Sig,
Sig, or
and
like
Sig.
having freaking the brothers Yamazaki.
That'd be cool.
That's like, of course. I mean, like, if you
I want
a
a
good
5 commander deck with all 5 of the original Elder Dragons. I mean,
was just
that's
about to say,
fine.
like-
It's just that deck will play like ass. Like it's not like well, I'm gonna get you with my 9-cost Rampage
right,
2
that
or
I have
whatever
to
it
pay
is.
my like upkeep every
Yeah.
turn.
Oh, it's got Rampage 2. What does that do? I don't know.
Yeah, because a flyer needs Rampage of all things.
Yeah,
Like, really?
right.
No, but somebody's gonna come up to you and be like, "I need to have my Nicole Bolas and Ugin Planeswalker twins deck," and I'm like, "Okay, I appreciate the idea behind it.
Yes.
No, you don't get to have 2 of the strongest Planeswalkers ever printed as your commanders. That's not gonna happen."
Yeah. This is the thing.
But I mean, you can split hairs all day.
Commander is a dream, and we must never acknowledge it, or we'll wake up. This is the problem. Is now we're getting into crazy. You need to. This is why we need the rules committee.
Yeah.
This is why we need you and your ridiculous expanding of bans is because you bind the universe together with
Like,
your
the thing-
insanity, and that we need that, or we're all going to wake up from the dream and just have cards all over the
Right.
floor.
I mean, God, dude, like, there has to be some fundamental baseline, or the thing falls apart, right?
I got into such an argument when I was in grad school because I was in a class called Introduction to Nonfiction, and I said, and they were saying, well, there's no difference between fiction and nonfiction, and I said, raised my hand, yes, there is. And I said, there is a difference between fiction and nonfiction, and they went into what their answer was, well, wait a minute, when you create a story, you draw on your real life inspirations, so some parts of that story are nonfiction, and when people think and write down what happened, it's their memory, and it might be wrong or influenced, or sometimes people lie. And I was like, that's all true, but there is such a thing. There's books that are fiction, books that are nonfiction. They all disagreed with me, and it was the only class I got an A in every class in grad school except that one, and that professor gave me a B because she didn't like that I said there was a difference between fiction and nonfiction.
I mean, there's a point where you have to accept an arbitrary distinction.
God, I hated grad school.
You have to accept an arbitrary distinction. If you don't, then the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, that's why Iona's banned.
And that's why Iona's banned. Iona's also banned because I hate that card.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, look, when we got on the CAG and we had the first meeting,
Sheldon didn't know not to listen to you yet.
Sheldon did not know not to listen to me yet. He has since learned.
Yeah.
But no, they were like, "What cards are problems?" And I'm like, I saw a game where a kid came in with their brand new monocolored deck, and they got Iona locked out of the game, and nobody freed them from the cage. And I was like, "That's a player we're never getting back." And that's why I was like, we need to advocate for cards that just say you lose the game to go away. I hate that. But everybody knows what I think about Iona. That's fine. I know, like, some of my fellow CAG mates were like, "Nobody gives a crap about Iona. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am taking a stand for the common man. And
All right.
they're like, and that's why
They're
we
like,
don't
are you
listen
going to be like this all the time?
Yeah. And they're like, and that's why we don't listen to you.
Yeah. Well, I still love you, even though I disagree with the Iona ban. But I still love you. That's good. It's good work you do. It is. All esoteric talk aside.
I appreciate you, Prof, because you have given me so many different jumps in my own career in Magic every single time.
Nah.
Like, you aired my essay when nobody else was reading it, and that got everybody to notice me.
Good essay.
You gave me advice to jump onto a podcast. You gave me advice to start
Good
my own
podcast
show,
host.
to go and guest on these things and
Yeah.
do all these things. You've introduced me to all these different people, put my name in front of other people. I owe my entire 100 years
No,
I mean,
you don't.
to Olivia.
To Olivia, right. Yes.
But also to you and Tappy. And yeah, no, I'm just glad to that our friendship has actually lasted, despite our burgeoning fame in the community,
Right.
and the fact that we're towering. Like, it was so
Some
fun.
burgeoning, some declining. I mean, we're going different directions there.
It was wild though at Vegas when we would be just like, I was walking up to you, and I could see that you hadn't actually been able to move to get to
Oh
a
yeah,
seat.
no, it was a little wild there. That was, I think, that was a lot of attention. That was a lot of attention.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because it reminded me of that first time at like, was it GPLA or something, where the first time you went out as the professor, and
yeah.
I was kind of just hovering around you, grabbing people, shaking your hand, and sending them on their way, because people would just kind of stand there and stare.
Yeah. I
But
don't know. It's been a long wild trip, and
yeah,
I think it'll continue to be long. And I think if anything, the fact that you're here at episode 100 at year 2, and you are just getting started.
yeah,
You were talking. I'm not even going to spoil it, but he was talking about all these ideas for the show, all these new ways to expand, to do new things, to bring on new ideas, and bring stuff.
yeah,
And it's called 2 years, and you haven't even begun to get warm yet. I think it's wild. I think it's great. I think that for all my complaints about Magic is bigger than it's ever been, and
mm,
that's beautiful too. And in a lot of ways, as I've said, the fact that there are complaints to be made means that there's passion there.
yeah,
You made a comment about alchemy, and everyone's up in arms about what's going on in alchemy. But you know what that is? People want to be able to play Magic online, digitally, and if they didn't care about the game, they would just say, okay, whatever. But they're pissed because they love this game, and something has disrupted that, and they are advocating for the game to be better. And no, they don't always do it the right way. And yes, sometimes some people go way too far, and that's not okay. But the fact that people are that passionate about this game, to levy those criticisms, to stand up and say, no, Iona shouldn't be banned, then, it's that they love the game. They love the game. I'm just giving you crap. Don't.
yeah. I mean, look, dude, alchemy is fine. It's fun, and I think if you're a standard grinder, people like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't in historic, but I don't even play historic. I don't care. I just draft. It doesn't
Right.
matter to me.
Right.
But it's like, it's funny because what I was trying to say is this year, like I've been to shows with you before, and I've seen
Yeah.
you get mobbed before. This was the first time that I was getting stopped too,
Yeah.
and I was just like, wow, there's people who are listening to this,
Yeah.
and it's amazing, and it's like it's such a validating feeling
Mm-hmm.
to feel like, oh, I'm the stuff that we're throwing out there in the world getting seen and getting listened to, and I'm just like, so I use you as a model of how to behave in public, which is really a good way to go, because it's like, look, these people are giving us the
Yeah.
time,
No.
like they're giving us their hours of the day to listen to or to watch videos or to consume content, and that's just rad.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
it's never a bother. Like everybody
Yeah.
always said. Like I'll be honest with you, I don't go to those events to play Magic. I go to those events to meet fans and secondary to play Magic.
Right.
And it's never a bother. I want people to come up and say hi. And again, it was Will Wheaton who once wrote, a bit of a Will Wheaton fan. Will Wheaton once wrote that it's like you're, in a way, kind of your duty, that these are the people who like support you and carry you and love what you do, and you're going to be there for 8 hours. He was talking about Star Trek conventions, and he's like, you're going to see them for 30 to 60 seconds, but you need to make sure that those 30 to 60 seconds for them makes them feel like they are everything you're interested in that moment. And I think that's really smart and really important to me. And I also believe very much that I don't deserve what I have, and I don't want to get in an argument about
Sure.
that. But my reaction is so I need to earn it.
Mm.
I need to do what needs to be done to deserve it.
Mm.
One day I will, and so I need to get to that point where I do deserve it. So when the people are coming up and saying, "I subscribe to you, I'm wearing your T-shirt, whatever," I just have been with you. People say they've been with me since the beginning sometimes, and I'm just like, I don't know what I did to deserve that, but let's talk. Let's hang out for a little bit. Let's something. I want to one day be able to deserve that.
The noted author Margaret Weiss once told me, because I asked her after a signing, I'm like,
Such a name dropper.
like, you have to ask these people like all the time. They
Yeah.
ask you your favorite character or whatever.
Right,
Aren't you ever tired of this? She's like, I might have heard that question 10 million times, but to that person coming here, they waited in line. That might be the first and the only time they ever get to talk to me and ask that question. And it's going to be the most important thing they ask you. So you owe it to them to answer as fully and warmly as you can. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Like these people, these people have come to you. They've made that effort to take that step forward to come and say hello, which is hard for some people.
Yeah.
Anxiety is real. It's like, you're like, oh, I listen to you all the time, and they want to talk to you or have you sign to it. I'm like, well, I'm going to, because it's important to me that you feel like that was worth your effort.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you and I both have experiences where there's people who we're super awe of, and we finally get to meet, and they're just complete, dicks, and you're like...
The noted author Michael Shivam told me to go F myself.
Well...
I wrote him a fan letter, and he wrote back, and I wish I still had it. He did, and he basically was like, I can do without you as a fan. Because I told him to have a blog. That's what pissed him off. And he literally said I could fucking do... Like, he used the F word.
Yeah. Don't be that. Don't be that.
Don't be like Michael Shivam. Be like Will Wheaton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we could discuss Wheaton another time. But,
yes.
Thank you for being here and joining me on this 100th
Thank you for having
episode,
me.
Man.
I'm just really thrilled to get to be here with you.
For this first and probably last, because I don't know any of the other guests, in-person recording.
Yeah. Who's out in the Bay Area anymore?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Me? Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see. And I would probably need to get more mics and more setups and things.
Probably a camera.
Maybe do some YouTube-y videos and maybe put this online.
If only there was a YouTuber you could ask questions about how to do that effectively.
Do you think Jimmy Wong is free?
No.
All right, folks. If people wanted to find you and they weren't in my living room, where could they go?
They can go to YouTube and type in Tolarian Community College into YouTube. And
yeah,
that's
like
where
literally, like anybody doesn't know who the
also
professor is.
Type in Magic the Gathering into YouTube and I'll pop up.
Higher than the official channel.
I'm a search result for Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I feel like any Magic player who doesn't know who the prof. Did I ever tell you about the time I was at work with a kid who was teaching how to play Magic in my office? And he was like, yeah, man, I've been watching the video from this dude called the Prof. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay, fine. And there was a guy I knew at office who didn't even play Magic, but just watched your opening videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't even like the game. He's like, yeah, but I like to watch the cards get opened.
Yeah,
like,
that's really interesting to me. I do get those comments where people say I stopped playing Magic 5 years ago, or I don't play Magic, but I watched the video. And I think that one is always interesting to me.
They're like, all right, you know what? Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
The content is there for you to consume if you like it.
If you listen to this podcast and you don't play Magic the Gathering, let Shivam know via social media, because I'm sure he would like, well, because you're just so charming and you've got such a soothing voice. You have a perfect podcast voice. When I heard your first episode, I was like, oh, he's got it.
Yeah,
he's got a really good podcast voice.
Not gonna lie, I definitely feel like my voice is
like I don't know anything about watches. I watch Marshall's watch repair.
Oh my God,
I could fall asleep to that. I could let Marshall just talk me to sleep.
Why do you think I've had him on the show twice?
Do you know his watch repair channel gets better views than my YouTube channel?
Dude, I saw a video of his yesterday, had 1 million+ views on it.
Yeah, he's getting 1 million views just being showing us watches. But they're so soothing.
Yeah, and
he's like the lock-picking lawyer, but for watches.
And he's also really good at it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
He's mellow.
I've seen his hands though. His hands are huge, and some of those screws.
I've seen him. He's huge.
Some of those screws are really, really small.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's the spectacle. It's like watching a giant repair like a little.
Yeah, you're like, I don't understand what's going. Anyways, this show is brought to you by CoolStuffInc, by Coalesce, and by Archidekt. You can find it anywhere podcasts are sold, or at CoolStuffInc. You can find me at Gear Gears, and you probably find me all over the place on Twitters and on the Discords and what have you. But my friends, it is not Magic without the gathering. And finally, hopefully, we can start to, if we are disciplined and behave ourselves, start gathering in person again. And you can even have things like the professor in your house. But it's not Magic without the gathering, and we will see you next time.
Why would I be in their house?
That would actually kind of be really creepy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just like to clear up. I'm not coming into anybody's house uninvited or anything like that. That's not. No matter, we can eliminate COVID tomorrow, and I'm not just going to show up in your house.
Although it would be hilarious.
Your game store, maybe.
You show up with a bunch of just deck boxes. Like,
just walk
hi,
in.
You want to see some deck boxes?
No. It's more like you walk in and I'm holding your deck boxes, and I go, really, really, this is what you're using.
Do you not watch my videos?
Oh.
Like, God. And you're just sitting there with their most expensive
What are
deck.
these booster packs? Are you going to draft with these? These don't look like singles.
You pick up their favorite deck and just start splitting the sleeves.
Right.
Can you believe that they're just using paper clips instead of... Yeah. He's not going to show up at your house. He'll show up in mine, though.
Yes.
And we will see you next time. Thank you all for 100 episodes of listening to me. And here's to another 100 or 3 or 5, who knows? At least get to 241, because every Magic player loves a 2-for-1.
Congratulations again, my friend.
Thank you so much. Catch y'all later.